Let's get right to it. Cam Inman, Bay Area News Group, covers the San Francisco 49ers. He's joining us right now. Cam, obviously an interesting day down in Santa Clara yesterday. Is there any, let me just throw a couple questions at you. Is there any update to whether Shanahan had that conversation later in the day with Trey after Trey took the news like he did? Is Trey still in the plans to play tomorrow? Where are we right now?
Well, I mean, it would be nice if we could actually ask Kyle Shanahan those questions ourselves, but he's not available to us. So all we know is that he talked to Trey yesterday morning and informed him he was not the number 2 quarterback, and he gave him the day off, and that Trey was supposed to be back in the building today. And they had a walkthrough practice, probably just finished up right now, that the media is not allowed out to. So I guess we'll show up tomorrow at Levi's Stadium if Trey Lance hasn't been traded, and we'll see if he's actually going to play, because man, what a weird sight that would be after yesterday's situation. I mean, it was one of the most bizarre days. Wow. I mean, we've seen guys, just like lose their jobs or get fired or whatever, and this is, you don't win the number 2 job, and then but just like he's not on the field, and there's all this scuttlebutt and this secrecy, and there's no side of the coach or GM with the media. They send out the linebacker, your team captain, to answer for something. It was odd. It kind of just bad taste and everything. But, I mean, at the same time, you want to get down to it, Sam Darnold was the number 2 quarterback because Trey Lance didn't beat him out for that job.
Cam, Steiny, this is his first day back from vacation, and I'm trying not to make this a 2-minute answer. I'm already doing a good job. But I got to tell you this, Cam. It was crazy. I'm upset because I thought Kyle could recognize, a quarterback from afar and project. And I just can't believe the Trey Lance era never got off the ground. But with that, Cam, I got Steiny perplexed because after the Brock Purdy success story, I can follow up and say, I believe in second chances. I go back to what Sam Darnold was supposed to be when he came out of USC. He can make all the throws. I understand everybody's laughing, but my gosh, I just told my partner, if Darnold were to get on the field, I don't think the season's over with this loaded roster on offense and defense. You say what to that, Cam?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's the same thing last year because Brock Purdy got on the field, and you're like, well, this season's over. Nobody's ever won a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback, and he goes undefeated all the way up until his arm gets torn up. So the way this roster is constructed, as long as you got Nick Bosa and Christian McCaffrey out there, Trent Williams, you got all pros all over it, you're going to be fine. Now, I think Brock Purdy's far and away the best quarterback they've had in a long, long time because just of how well he runs Kyle Shanahan's offense. And he doesn't overdo it. And he knows his limitations. He knows he's got a competitive fire. He has the it factor. And the greatest thing is he's healthy. I mean, that was the number one question going into this. It was not whether Trey Lance could win a number 2 job. It was, is Brock Purdy going to be healthy enough for the season opener? And he's practiced 4 weeks and looks extremely healthy. He looks ready to lead this team. And so we can all fret over, okay, if he goes down, then Sam Darnold comes in. Fine. Sam looked okay in camp. He didn't wow me, but there would be usually 1 or 2 throws of practice where you go, wow, that was actually an impressive throw, and the rest were kind of safe throws, which is kind of works in the Shanahan offense, whereas Trey Lance didn't have that many wow throws, and there were more throws of, that didn't look good. So that's why it doesn't really surprise me that he didn't overtake Sam. And then even Brandon Allen, this guy barely got any snaps. He didn't get any snaps for about a week and a half up until yesterday. But, I mean, even he could be a serviceable number 3 quarterback, whether that's on the practice squad or an emergency reserve. They do that if they can find a taker for Trey.
Cam Inman joining us on 95.7 The Game. He covers the 49ers for the Bay Area News Group. So 2 days ago, Kyle Shanahan was asked about the backup position, whether he's going to name number 2 and whether he had to, or when. And Shanahan made it clear that if the question were about the saying who's 2 and 3 before the game, not Friday's game, maybe before the Pittsburgh game. So I guess my question is this: if they delivered that news to Trey Lance yesterday, and Trey Lance says, "Okay, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to go right back out there and try to get the number 2 spot right today." Would we know any more about the quarterback position today than we know now, which is everything?
I don't think so. I think this is pretty much it's gone the way it's gone the last couple of weeks, and it's like Shanahan told his flagship radio station that he saw this coming the last 10 days, right? So whatever he said a day or two ago, it doesn't matter because he prefaced everything to saying, "Well, I can do this. I may do that." It's not set in stone. What's set in stone is what he said yesterday morning to Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, is who's the number 2 quarterback. And
did Trey not? But it sounds like the reaction Trey gave, maybe Trey didn't see it coming.
Oh, I think Trey had to have seen it coming.
But then, how come he so emotional?
I think maybe of anything, it's the timing of it might be weird because maybe he wanted one more great chance of going out in the preseason finale and convincing him that hey, give me that last chance to prove you wrong. And Shanahan's like, no, I've seen enough. So,
but then Shanahan said he's still playing Friday.
It is, and yeah, exactly. So, and they're also saying we want to keep him as the number 3 quarterback because they have to say that in case nobody comes and trades for him.
Right.
Because Brock Purdy's one and Sam Darnold's 2. So it puts Trey in a really awkward situation. And it's a guy who he still could have a great career. Yeah, he came into this offseason, this camp, with a refined throwing motion. He's healthy. But when he's played, he's gotten hurt. His development's been hurt because he has not been able to play on the field. And he's not going to play on the field in a championship contending team that's willing to get through the growing pains when you have 2 better options ahead of him.
Wow, Cam, I know it's all about the quarterback. It's a quarterback league, but I got to do my daily, ask my question for my partner on his first day back. Where is Bosa? And are you concerned at this juncture that something from afar seems such like a layup that he's not been around?
I'm not concerned yet. I would be concerned in one more week. Okay. At most 2 weeks, right? Because then you're in the regular season week 1. Nick Bosa did not want to come to training camp. He did not come to training camp. Negotiations are ongoing right now, so that's a positive sign. And they have time. Does he need to get in before a preseason finale? No. Does he need to be in next week because they're going to be in full-on regular season mode? That would be great. If he comes in during week 1, he's still going to be able to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers and go after and sack Kenny Pickett. So I don't sense any reason to panic yet because I think everybody understands this is going to be a massive contract he's going to get. They understand the type of athlete he is, where he's taking great care of his body. He's the reigning defensive player of the year because of how meticulous he is at his craft. And he's going to get paid for that, and it's just a matter of is he ready to come in now and accept all those dollars, and are the Niners willing to part with all that in a contract where they know they're going to have to give up probably the biggest contract in NFL history for anybody that's not a quarterback.
Wow.
Cam Inman joining us on 95.7 The Game. He is our 95.7 The Game's 49ers insider, works for Bay Area News Group. Let me try to put it to you this way. So Kyle Shanahan has not spoken yet. Let's say I'm a fan and I'm just like, so wait a minute. Fred Warner goes out there and gets asked about this, but he doesn't really know what's going on, so you kind of set him up or hung him out to dry. It's like, when Shanahan does get asked about this, what would be the best possible answer he could give so that we can move forward?
Yeah, and Matt, I get what you're saying, and I know he'll explain things. I think Kyle's been very transparent a lot, and he'll say it just however the cold hard facts are, whether Trey wasn't good enough, whether Sam outplayed him, and blah blah blah. I kind of get back to the whole: how did the players interpret what happened yesterday?
Yes.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? It's like
Steiny brought that up
because Kyle's been in such good standing with the players, and he can be a hard coach, but he's demanding, right? And I just want to know if the players did not like that look of having 2 of their defensive players, Javon Hargrave and Fred Warner, have to go out there and answer questions because everybody knew the questions were about the quarterbacks.
Right.
And this whole camp has been about the quarterbacks. If they didn't send any player out, I mean, I guess you can understand it because it was such a landmark day in 49ers quarterback history, I would say, when you're partying, or you're not partying, but you're saying we're done with this guy that we traded up so high for in the first round. I just would wonder if it left a real sour taste in their mouths, and whether that chips away at Shanahan's credibility in the locker room. Because, I mean, whatever he says to the media, he says to the media. And to me, I think it's important to talk to the media because we're the conduit to the fans. And I had never seen as much outrage from fans yesterday on like direct messages and my social media feeds over Shanahan or Lynch not meeting the media yesterday to go over this quarterback stuff. A lot of people thought it was cowardly.
Man,
I just did not think it was a great look for the 49ers organization for them not to go over it and talk with us when everybody knew it was a big deal. When your quarterback, when Trey Lance is not on the practice field and we don't know why and we don't hear from a team official other than a linebacker that's a captain, even he doesn't know what's going on, I think it's a terrible look.
I agree.
Man, Cam, good Lord, Steiny and I were talking about that. Like, I understand fandom because I am one. Mm-hmm. And what do, the front office and coaches owe the fans, the people that are, paying to come to the game?
Right.
And there is, to me, a degree of truth. I want to run this by you because I'm in no position to judge, but I find it laughable. I'm on Twitter X here, and Lynch says, he's quoted as saying they called in Trey yesterday, told him of the decision that they were going with Darnold too, and they would try to get something done with him, meaning other places. But Lynch ended it with, I'm surprised it got out. And to me, Cam, I'm just saying, like, Lynch, John, what world do you think we live in? Maybe that's why they didn't talk, because they believed that wouldn't have got out. But I guess if you operate in good faith and maybe just would have told the masses what eventually is going to come out, it wouldn't be, quote unquote, this type of mess.
I mean, if I'm Trey Lance's agent, who's also Sam Darnold's agent, you got to get that out because you want other teams to know, even the 49ers would want other teams to know that, hey, we need to trade Trey Lance. But the second the media comes out onto the practice field and Trey Lance isn't out there, I think, we can put two and two together.
So. Exactly. Wow, that's what I don't understand. Yeah. So they're... Yeah, okay. I'll just leave it there.
No, you both are on it.
That's kind of what I don't understand. I'm going to kind of ask you to just give me your hunch here.
Yeah.
How do you think the quarterback position goes tomorrow night?
Oh, gosh. Can they just take a knee for like 35 snaps and just get through to get to the Pittsburgh? I mean, I'd imagine Brock Purdy plays a series or two. If he doesn't, great, because I don't need to see any more from Brock Purdy. I'd let Sam Darnold play a half. And then I would probably let Brandon Allen play the other half. If I'm Trey Lance, I'm not playing in that game.
Wow.
It's too spectacularly bizarre to put him through that. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, we've seen a lot of bizarre stuff with the 49ers over 25 years. Jimmy Garoppolo a year ago being in this side field dungeon, throwing on his own, and now Trey Lance is in this purgatory as well. Trey saw what Jimmy had to go through. It worked out great for the 49ers and for Jimmy because he got to play and get the Niners back into playoff contention. But we're a long way from something like that again. And if I'm a team on another, somewhere else in the league, and I'm not really that convinced that my backup quarterback spot's solidified and I'm not totally sold on my starter or I want better insurance, I'd probably take a flyer on Trey. It's going to cost you a few $1 million, but you have his rights for 2 years, and I think he's definitely worth going after. Whereas a year ago, if you want a Garoppolo, you're going to get a winning quarterback, but one with an injury history and one that commanded a double-digit $1 million salary. So it's, they got a few days to figure this out before they get to Tuesday's roster deadline. Maybe they only have a day to figure it out before the kickoff of the preseason finale tomorrow. There's a lot that can happen here in the final days as rosters get shaved down.
Yeah, you know what, Cam? This is kind of random, but I've been thinking about it. You look at Robert Saleh, they're on HBO, and he's doing his thing, trying to survive in New York. He was phenomenal at his job as DC. DeMeco Ryans, he's back in his home, Houston, and they were successful with this great Niner defense. And then here comes Wilkes, and I want to just bet my last dollar because I believe it. The Niners are going to be this and that on defense, but yet you lost Jimmy Ward. You lost some like B type of players, but you lost some depth, I believe, and Bosa will be back. But is there any question to you about this Niner defense under Wilkes, or is it just cruise control, Goo, and they're going to be as stellar as they've been?
I think they're going to be awesome. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, let's get to some positive news because yes, Bosa will get signed, right? If he does not get signed, then it's a disaster, right? Everything can turn on that. But getting Bosa back and putting him next to Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead, who's fully healthy. And then you got a couple options at the other end spot with Cleveland Farrell, who really actually has looked like a first-round pick. But, you know, he looks worthy of what he was a few years ago in the Raiders where it didn't work out. He's had a great camp. And then Drake Jackson, he's a really good pass-rushing specialist, I would say, because he's so flexible and he can get after that quarterback that way. And then you got the two best linebackers in the league there with Warner and Greenlaw. The safeties are ridiculously great with Hufanga, Gibson. Now you bring in Jair Brown, who I think we haven't really seen do anything yet because it's not regular season mode where you're ready to blast guys and hit them hard and deploy them that way. I think you're going to see a really aggressive physical defense. And I think Steve Wilkes will do a little bit more blitzing with his linebackers and safeties. And then I think a lot of it will come down to the cornerback play, whether Tarvarius Ward can become that all-pro, Pro Bowl cornerback that he envisions. He wants to take that step up. And then whether Diamador Lenore can to lock down the other side. And but I think when you have such a great pass rush and great linebackers, it's going to be a phenomenal defense to watch. And I think Wilkes he's impressed me so far. He's a specialist with the cornerbacks, and I think to me that's the biggest concern. So if he's really a hands-on approach with those guys and knows what they need to do, then I think they're in good shape.
Mm-hmm. Cam, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, man. Hey, do you think there's interest out there in the Niners? Do you think people care?
That?
I said, you really think people care about the Niners?
I think they do, and I think when you're in Las Vegas tomorrow, you better be like setting up shop at that stadium pool at Circa, and you're going to hear everybody talking about the quarterback.
Look at Cam.
You know what?
Yeah, buddy.
You know what today?
Cam, baby.
You know what a day like today always proves to me, Cam, is that when everything's blowing up, the 49ers are still the kings of the Bay Area.
It's all about sunshine and quarterbacks with the 49ers.
All right, buddy. Have a good time tomorrow.
Take it easy.
Hey, you guys too. Have a good trip.
All right, thanks. That's Cam Inman, Bay Area News Group.